Hello, welcome to Such Nice Work. I'm Kendra, and as of when this all finishes uploading to the interwebs, you'll be able to find me everywhere as Cutesy Poo Creations. Cutseypu Creations, all one word. So that would be on Ravelry, on Instagram, on Gmail, and also cutesypoocreations.blogspot.com, and it's also the name of my Etsy store. So, and YouTube, obviously, but if you're watching this, that's where you found me, or you're watching it through the blog, but I don't know if anybody really watches it through the blog, but yeah, so you can find it all those places. And yeah, like I said, I'm going to be changing everything over, one name, everywhere. But yeah, I'm Kendra. I'm the, what is the term? Not artist, crafter. I am the person, that's what I am, behind Cutesy Poo Creations, which is the business, I guess, that I have that makes the things. Most of the stuff that I'll be showing you today is not business related, because right now I am on a personal crafting kick. I am at a point in my schedule where I can personally craft rather than crafting for any sort of monetary means. I'll apologize in advance. It is late, so the lighting is poor, but it's been a long time, like over a month and a half, since I have podcasted, and that's mostly because we've been busy, which I know is what everybody says. Busy is a good catch-all term for choosing to spend your time differently, and I've been choosing to spend my time not podcasting. I've been working 3+ ish days a week, which, I mean, it's still not full-time, but it, you know, from like 10 to 2 is a big chunk of my day, and that just kind of eats into things. And my husband's been working a lot more, and with the kids, that just makes us busy. We have been camping at the last like 10 days. I think we were gone 4 of them. There's been a lot of rain here in Kansas, a lot. And since the weather got warm enough to go camping, there really weren't more than a day, maybe 2 at a time, where we didn't have rain. And a week and a half ago, my hubby saw the forecast, and there were going to be 3 days in a row without rain. And we wanted to go camping for 2 nights, so we really kind of needed that window. And we found it. So we jumped on it and arranged our work schedules and stuff and went camping, thinking that we were going to do that for my son's birthday, even though it wasn't that week, but we're like, we're getting it in when we can. And then it turned out the weather held, and we had a good time, and that was fun. And so then coming this last few days, my husband had off work, and it was actually my son's birthday. Today is June 19th, which is my second son's 3rd birthday. I have a 3-year-old. But yes, the weather was good, and so we went camping for 2 nights, and then we spent like all day there today. And we just got back from dinner a while ago at this point, and everyone is in bed. And I realized that I've not podcasted in forever, and I just needed to do it because I wrote these show notes like a week ago, maybe more, probably more like a week since I actually wrote these down, anticipating podcasting. And since then, a number of items have moved from the will I procrastinate to obviously they were prioritized and are now I'm proud of yous. So I need to do this while these notes still kind of matter. Yeah, not to mention, I just want to talk to you all because it's been a while. Long while. Yeah, so I haven't been podcasting, but I've been watching lots of podcasts. I've been culling through my list of podcasts because I decided that I only wanted to watch podcasts that made me feel good about myself and my crafting. And so if there are people that I feel somehow demean the things that I make, or, I don't know, maybe feel judged or not happy, yeah, I'm just not going to watch them anymore, because I wouldn't associate with people like that in my regular life. I don't know why I would in my virtual life, especially for the fact that I spend so much time watching podcasts. And when I say watching them, it's not like I sit and like stare at the screen. I just have YouTube running a lot. I basically don't watch, like, we don't have cable or anything, we have Netflix. And I do watch shows on Netflix with both the kids and my hubby and my kids and my hubby together. But I do not watch it hardly at all by myself anymore. I just don't. I spend most of my time watching things on YouTube. That's what I'm doing. So, yeah, that's kind of that. If you have been here before, then thank you for coming back for more crazy. And I apologize, like I said, for the bad lighting. And also, if you notice pink splotchy bits all over me, those are bug bites. Got attacked by a lot of bugs. Got a little sun, but not in any sort of bad way, whether or not the lights are going to show that. But, yes, there's definitely some bug bites happening all over. And if there's a lot of itching, that's also why. But yeah, so. I'm drinking raspberry leaf tea, which my husband and kids picked for me off our actual raspberry bushes. So it's just dried raspberry plant leaves, and then it's steeped in water, and it's quite tasty. As far as herbal tea goes, it is the closest I have found in flavor to black teas. Currently, my favorite beverage has been to make homemade lemonade with vodka on ice, and that is quite tasty. We had quite a bit of that while we were camping. And by quite a bit, I mean not that much, because otherwise I would fall asleep. But I kind of found my perfect ratio for making homemade lemonade is to take a quart jar, fill it to the 4-ounce mark with sugar, then pour lemon juice into the 8-ounce mark, then fill it to the top with water. And that shook up makes perfect homemade lemonade, at least to my taste. So, what has been going on since the last time we talked? Last time I was getting ready for the Kansas Sampler Festival in Wamego, and that went really, really well. I mean, I don't know how well it went, like, monetarily. I did good, I think, and from talking to other vendors, since I more than broke even, that's good. And, there were over 12,000 people there, which is kind of crazy. It was really, really fun. Next year is going to be held in Winfield, Kansas, and I was not, going into this, I was not at all planning on even applying for next year's show because of its location. But I had such a good time that I'm definitely going to apply at least. You are given preference if you have attended before, but it's all kind of based on when they receive the applications and also space considerations. And I know that Winfield is probably going to be a smaller location as far as vendors are concerned, so I am hoping I can get in. I don't think I will know till after January, because I think that's when the applications come out. But I'll be keeping an eye on that. I will include some pictures right here. That was my setup, and I actually had to move things the second day. I was right by, there were like, the tents had a side entrance in addition to the end, and so I was right next to one of the side entrances. Well, the first day, they'd had it mostly closed because it had been windy and rainy, and then they just like randomly opened it all the way up. Well, I have a lot of handmade cards, and my displays are basically meant for indoor use. I do not have it set up for being outside, and I certainly was not expecting being outside. I was in a tent, so it should have been fine. But the tent started like banging into the back of my displays and almost tipping them over. Anyways, I kept having to move bits and pieces of my setup around during the show the first day to avoid the wind causing major issues. And so the second day I showed up and completely rearranged where everything was, and was able to combat the wind, and everything was fine. So that was good. I met some really nice people. I was able to finish all of those projects that I talked about needing to finish. Though I was, with my crocheted birds, as I was saying at the show, I was working on some the second day as it was slow, and I was saying, you know, I'm hatching a green bird if you want to wait, and little kids were going, Mom, she's hatching birds, which is pretty cute. I also birthed some dolls. So people got to watch me do some of that. I had most of the pieces done. I was just like sewing things together and putting faces on. And I was explaining to people that I don't put eyes on the dolls till everything else is done, because then it's not weird to like manhandle the head and contort them the way you have to when you're sewing amigurumi together. But if they have little eyes that are staring at me, it's kind of creepy, and I feel bad like throwing them around the way I do. So I don't put the eyes on until very last. I did meet a bunch of really nice people, and I said that I would say hi to some of them. Well, one of them. There was a family outside the tent on the other side of me, and they're from Paxico, Kansas, and they own the Pottery Garden. And I want to say her name is Maria, or something to that effect. It starts with an M, and it has a J in it. And if you're watching, I'm sorry, but I don't remember your name, and I don't have your card on me right now. But I know it's the Pottery Garden in Paxico. And the mother-in-law was there spinning on her wheel, and that was cool. And they make pottery and sell knitted stuff in Paxico. So that was kind of cool. Yeah, so since then, we have had tons of rain in Kansas. As I mentioned, the not being able to find days that were dry in a row. But we did go camping. Since the last time I talked, I have discovered Instagram. Not in any, like, obsessive way. Some days more so than others. I have been really good about taking pictures of things that I have finished. Which is just kind of cool for me, because especially when I feel like I'm not getting any crafting in or not getting anything completed, which can really happen, I can just scroll through my pictures on Instagram and be like, hey, look, I did this and this and this, and it's not so bad. So if you would like to follow me, that's great. Or if you want me to follow you, I'd be interested in whatever you're making. I have also been doing a decent amount of organization and giving away of things around the house. I took in like a whole carload of stuff. The upstairs, we have a small room that was used as a storeroom the entirety of my dad's almost 70 years plus in this house. And then we turned it into a classroom where we have all our homeschool materials stored, and have tried on and off to actually school up there, but with the two younger ones, it's just easier to school in a room where I can have them playing nearby than to be like in a separate space quite like that yet. But it is still where most of the materials are housed as far as supplies and stuff. But I moved things around. I moved a love seat out into our hallway. I moved furniture around and stuff upstairs, and made room that I could set up my sewing table in there. Better organized my yarn, and it has a home up there. Also a place to keep my finished objects for sale, and my like display setup stuff that I really hadn't had a good home for. I don't want the kids getting into when it's not, you know, when I'm not going to shows and stuff. I shouldn't have another show till probably September, but then I start getting ready for like fall shows. So right now I'm in this interim period between the summer shows and fall shows where I get to do personal crafting. So we are, our county fair is in July, the middle of July, 13th, 17th, something in there. So I have about a month. And my goal is to try and enter as many of the crochet categories as I can, and there are 10. So I'm trying to figure out something to make for each of them, which means they might not be the most complicated things in each one, but from when I entered last year, I found that the judges were looking more for simple patterns done correctly than more complicated things that might have even done like a step below. But just about everything I saw was very simple, especially in the crochet category. I mean, there were some awesome knitted things, but there wasn't anything really complex that was crocheted. So I intend to enter more this year. And as I show you my things, we'll talk about that. And then, yeah. So I don't even know what order to do things in. I will talk about this first. So I have been working on my list of 30 while 30 because in 6 days, it will be my half birthday. Yay! So, theoretically, I should have finished 15 things on my list of 30, right? Yeah, not there. But I figured that now is a good time to look and see what I need to do. So, things that I needed to work on this month. I have finished 2 of the 5 unfinished objects that I wanted to finish. But I need to work on the birthday banner, which I kind of hoped to get done before today for my son's birthday, but obviously that didn't happen. I haven't touched it. But rather than hand sewing around the letters, my new sewing machine should free motion good enough. I am going to just embroider around it with the machine. So I need to do that. And let's see. Of the 5 objects I was going to make for me, I have finished 1. I am currently working on the layering tunic vest, though, for myself. I have done 0 of the 5 for other people that I'm trying to make. But I do have 3 of them in progress. So I'm working on the Vortex Afghan, the Lovey for my 3rd son, and what is the other 3rd one? I don't know. There is a 3rd one on my list. All of these are on the blog if you're at all interested in my 30 for 30. It's just a good way for me to be accountable. I came up with 30 things in different categories, 6 different categories that I wanted to complete during the time I was 30. And so yeah, of the things I want to read, I have 0 of 5 of them done. And now I'm attacking War and Peace. And by attacking, I mean I have it. I got an interlibrary loan and found that the version, I was having a hard time reading it on my computer because I've been using a free version and reading it digitally, and I just wasn't enjoying that. So I got a hard copy version, and I like the translation of that version better than what I had on the computer. So I actually think I'm going to go on Amazon and buy a copy, paper copy, of the version that I had interlibrary loaned, because I think it is due like this week. And I am just over 1% done reading the book, which is not very far, but it's a big freaking book, and it's going to be very impressive when I finish it. Right? At least I'm going to be impressed. So, as far as things that I am watching, for Mother's Day, we watched Chasing Shackleton on Netflix because it was one of the things on my list, and I wanted to watch it, and on Mother's Day, I get to pick. So that's what we watched. It was interesting. I think that they tried to make some drama where drama did not exist. But that's frequently the case in those kind of like documentary following a reality kind of thing. I don't know. But they were trying to find a story. And beyond just these are some people that are trying to recreate something. Let's see. But 3 of the things that are on my watch list, I am in progress on. And then of my 5 things I want to do, 2 of them are done and 2 are in progress. So we're working on it. As you can see, the bookshelf behind me is a huge mess, but I have gone through and gotten rid of tons and tons of kids' books. I have 2 baskets of kids' books in the guest room that I still need to go through. This bottom shelf here, the one that is the most messy, those are all like easy readers and things that my daughter can read to her siblings. So they're on the shelf that the kids can actually reach, and many days the majority of that whole shelf of books comes down and is either read, looked through, played with, who knows, and then it goes back up. And then it's the shelves above, which I'm down to only 2 shelves because they kept playing with the bottom shelves and I had to pull them off. Which is part of the reason why I need to get rid of some books. I would like them all to fit on that shelf. But the 2 above are books that are just more complicated or are bought with a particular purpose or match certain lesson kind of things. So that is that. Okie dokie. I have been trying to join more Crochet A Loss, mostly just because it seems kind of fun. Right? Fun. Especially if I am going to be posting on Instagram more. I mean, it's something to post. A lot of them do have, like, hashtags and, I don't know, trying to be more involved in boards on Ravelry. I have joined the Starfleet Fiber Arts Corps, which I've talked about before, which is basically the Star Trek geek version of like Harry Potter house cut. And I got my first, promotion after our last tour. I did enough missions that I am now no longer an ensign. I am a lieutenant junior grade. Woohoo! So that's exciting. I think I was on a ship that had hardly any chatter, and so I posted to the missions, and that was exciting, but there was not a lot of interaction otherwise, which I would have liked if there'd been a bit more. Not that I've been particularly engaged so far the last 3 weeks. I don't know. I just haven't had much to say. And on forums, I feel like there's lots of people talking when they have nothing to say, and sometimes it might just be better to shut up, right? So yes, so the crochet alongs that I'm trying to take part in this month, the Red Heart Lovers crochet along is doing a standing hook case. I'm done. I even posted on Instagram. Now I just need to post a project page so that I can actually enter the contest, because this has been a problem with this particular group of me doing the crochet along, and even like someone's taking pictures and then being too lazy to upload them in time to actually enter, which is just dumb. For the Cat's Corner podcast, they are doing a blanket along, and I posted a whip photo of my Afghan to that, and I've started watching her podcast, which I had seen at one point, and then I think she went on hiatus because she had a baby, and now she is back, and so I've been watching that. For the Straw Family Farm podcast, which I have been watching as well, and I believe their group is actually RJ's Cuties, or something like that. It took me a bit to find it, but when I found it, they are doing a crochet along and a knit along of a hat. Well, 2 different hats, but similar hats, brimmed hats. And when I wrote these, it was in progress. It is done. Well, I have to leave in 2 ends. But it is done. And hopefully tomorrow I'll post pictures of that. And for the Pen, Hook, and Needle podcast, which I also started watching, again, it's another podcast I had seen and for whatever reason wasn't watching, and now I am. And I have to say that they have been the friendliest moderators of any group I've joined. Like, they sent me a welcome note. They went and subscribed to me in all my places. It was nice. It actually made it seem like if there is a group where I would be active, maybe that would be worth being the one, because obviously they are interested, right? So that's cool, and it was nice that they have reached out to do that. And they are doing an autism cow till the end of the month. And so you have to do things in bright colors, which once you see the things that I've made, I do have items in bright colors that will work, so I just need to post those. Things that are upcoming that I still want to do that I have not done the items for. Benjamin Credwig Fiber Arts Design is doing a childhood fiber along this summer, where you make something that reminds you of your childhood or makes you think of childhood, and you give the story behind it and then post the pictures. And I think that I might make some booties, and I will talk more about those when they happen. And also, Foxes and Socks are doing a catch-up cal, so any hats or shawls that I get done during the time frame, I can enter. Right? So, okie dokie. Where shall we start? I think that I'm just going to go through my my pile and talk about them as they come up, whether they're finished or not. I do have a few finished objects that I do not have in person, so I will insert photos here and tell you about them. So this is a gray headband that I made for the Fiber Arts Core for last month. You had to make something in black, white, or gray, and use no other colors. And it talked about like camouflage with your environment. So I made that headband, which I wear to work, and I was commenting on how it camouflaged my bangs that were growing too long, and also my gray hair. So, and then I made these. which are 2 custom dolls for some adorable girls that I met at the Kansas Sample Festival. And the picture's a little awkward, like the angle I took it at. They really were much cuter in person. I was still learning how to use my camera phone. I think I had had my phone for like a week when I finished those. And then these are chemo hats I made for my mom. There's a green one, which is I feel like Waves Ahead or something. It's from the Red Heart site. I actually really like the pattern. I think I will probably be making more of those, because it went really fast and it just uses post stitches to make the pattern, which is cool. And it's a free pattern. And then the cotton hat, I don't remember which hat pattern I used for that right now. But yeah, that is made out of peaches and cream. And then I have completed 6 commissioned sunflower dishcloths for the store Gypsies in Washington, where I have consigned my stuff. Somebody came in and saw some of my dishcloths and wanted more, so I whipped out 6. And that was cool. Things that I've completed, what else was, oh, for that Crochet Along with the Red Heart Lovers group I was talking about, I completed this, which is the standing hook case, and it fits my crochet hooks, and it will also fit, I have like a little, it's like one of the mini Altoids containers, they weren't actually Altoids, and I keep my stitch markers, like my, you know, the lobster claw ones to mark my spots, and my darning needles and stuff in there. And it can slip in here. Also, this bottom bit is the same size as I have a tape measure, one of my tape measures is, you know, one of those ones. I always think of them as spaghetti tape measures. You pull them out, you push the button, they slurp in like spaghetti. When I was a kid, my sisters worked at a craft store, and so I would always go in and play with the spaghetti tape measure, they called them, because, you know, pull them out, hold it by your mouth, push the button, slurp in the spaghetti. What fits in the bottom is you put that in and then put your hooks on top. They definitely won't come through the holes, but I was using it in bed because that's a normal place to use your measuring tape, right? In bed. And so it is upstairs next to my bed. But the hooks are here. So there's this. I modified the pattern slightly. It was a free pattern on Ravelry. I just made everything fit my hooks. And I really like it. I think, you know, it's a simple pattern, but I think it serves its purpose, and it worked quite nice going camping with. So yeah, there's that. And what else do I have? Oh, so I made, let's see, the Uncreated Crafter, who is Jen, who is Storm Coast Creations. She was doing a New to You Along on her podcast, which has since ended. The New to You Along, not the podcast. The podcast is good. You should go watch it. But my challenge to myself was to get over my fear of zippers. I've had a fear of sewing in zippers basically since I started sewing. And so this is the first one that I did. I made this project bag, which was promptly scooped up by my daughter for her crocheting. Now, I will not show you what is in it because I was told when I took pictures of these for Instagram that I could take pictures of the bags, but Mom, don't take pictures of my stuff. So, since I have not asked her permission, this has one project of hers in it, and it has a zipper on it. And the zipper was put in okay. It does stick a little, this first one. But, oh, and there's yellow on the inside. But they have gotten better. So I made this one, and then I thought, hey, let's practice making more. So I made this one, and this bag has a handle, which works out quite nicely. This one has, the handle's a little tight for me, but it fits her arm really nice. And then it has this handstock. Ooh. Okay. It has this turquoise zipper, which is funny. This fabric I thought was quite ugly when I picked it out. I was kind of just trying to use some of my, like, junkier fabric as I saw it in my stash, and purple leopard on the inside. But I had this turquoise zipper that, or teal, not turquoise, sorry, zipper that I wanted to use. I thought I'd match nice. And then I put the bag together, and I really, really like it. I have a little bit more of this. I don't know if I can get a bag this big. but I think I can get something out of it. And these have, like, super lightweight interfacing in them, just because it was the interfacing I had on hand. And if this wasn't going to work and I was not going to like them, I didn't want to have to go and buy anything. So everything I made is out of stash, including the zippers. Because I worked at a fabric store in high school, so I have a lot of fabric stash and a lot of notion stash. So yes, these were all bought with good intentions to make like garments and, you know, fabric, just fabric that I had. But I used up all the interfacing that I had, and so I purchased more. I purchased thicker interfacing. It's all sew-in because I'm cheap, and I like the sew-in. Yeah. So the other thing that I made had 10 zippers because it was all these together. But I didn't think about the fact that my sewing machine would not be able to go through all 10 layers when they went together. This is an envelope system wallet, like the Dave Ramsey envelope system, for me to kind of budget our money. I've been trying to live more on cash and less on using cards of any sort, just because it's an easier way to keep track of things for me. So it has turned into a 2-pocket pouch for my husband that can have money for like food and family stuff for him, and then the bigger wallet for me to separate things out for all of our household expenses. So I had found online different tutorials on how to make one of these, but none of them made them quite the way I wanted, because, let's see, this one will show, right? Okay, so I figured out, based on making bags, how to make it so that the inside is finished around your zipper, right? So there's no icky ends of your zipper showing. Well, the tutorials don't really show you how to do that. Most of them leave your zippers looking like this, which is all exposed and icky, and I was trying to explain to my husband, I just find it stressful looking, and sometimes I already find the act of paying for things and dealing with being in stores and all that to be stressful enough, and looking at my wallet and finding it stressful is just not okay. So I looked and looked and couldn't find the tutorial, and I finally just figured out, I was like, I'm just going to mess with this till I figure it out myself. And I did figure out how to do what I wanted. So all of these, except that one that I showed you, do have finished edges. That one's got a bunch of junk in it. You can't really see it very well. But yeah, so they all have, you know, finished edges around all the zippers on both sides of these different little, they're basically like you make like an envelope with a, like a pouch that has a zipper on 2 ends of it, and then I sewed them all together. So you can set them like, it can slide in my purse this way so it doesn't take up as much space, or when I'm holding it like this. So it's kind of a work in progress. I think I'm going to play with this pattern and play with the way that I put the zippers in, because everywhere I've gone and people have seen this, they really liked it and thought it was interesting. So I might play with the idea a little bit more. But yes, I have conquered zippers. So that was cool. I like that about the New to You Along, which is another thing that kind of made me think I should do more of these cows, because they will hopefully get me to do some things that I would not have done otherwise. Let's see. So this one is the next set of bags I made. I made 2 bags. I made one for me and one for my mom out of these fabrics. These are fat quarters that I got when, in 2005, my mom and I went to the Sisters Outdoor Quilt Show in Sisters, Oregon. We went and we camped so that we could have more money to spend on fabric. See, this one has a much more appropriately sized handle for me. We went to the Stitch and Post, and I spent all the money we would have spent on boarding. I spent it on fabric, and so I had this huge stack of fat quarters from the Stitch and Post that I won't use for anything because they're my preciouses. Like, do not touch these. But I need to use them. It's going to be the second week of July this year. It will be a decade that I've had this fabric, and it is too pretty to stop using. So I made my mom and I each a bag, and we are fraternal twinsies. So hers looks exactly the same as this, but in reverse. So like this one is the red, and you know, and then the back of hers is the other print. And then our interiors are 2 different orangey kind of prints. So I made us these bags so that we can keep the parts too. We are going to do like a sampler quilt together. When we were in Sisters, we bought the pattern for this sampler quilt. And we've been talking about doing it for, yes, almost a decade now. And we have not. And I'm realizing that time is of the essence, and if I would like to do this quilt with my mom, we need to get on it. So I'm going to make the sampler quilt using my stack of fat quarters as like all the fabric for it. I'm not going to use any other fabrics. So we're going to get on that. My machine now works, and I have all the stuff, and she is supposed to be working on getting her machine to function. And so I'm going to pressure her. So before the second week of July, we need to start this because I don't want the fabric to have sat for a decade. That's pathetic. So yeah, we're working on that. But until then, I commissioned this bag for something else because I went through and was trying to put all of my projects in some sort of vessel so that I can do them and take them and, you know, finish things. So I've done that. Let's see. The envelope wallet. Oh, I also made curtains for the cafe where I work, and then kept forgetting to take them and kept forgetting. I finally put them up on Wednesday. I hung them. So they're ugly, but they match the ugly decor where I work. So that's that. Sorry. Will I procrastinate or will I prioritize? Working on a number of items for this. The Fiber Arts Core this month has the theme is all about temporal shifts and time and stuff. And so, this month, well, for the 3-month challenge, which would usually be an away mission, we can submit up to 5 works in progress that each require more than 10 hours of work to finish. So I have picked 4, and if I get them all done, then I will add a 5th. Because I had 4 projects that I thought would take more than 10 hours to finish individually. So we'll go through those. So the first thing that I entered is this tablecloth, which is one of the things I would like to get done for the fair. I have a butcher block, or bar height table that the top got just trashed. So we pried the top off and bought a slab of butcher block and put it on. So I don't have any tablecloths or anything that fit because it's an odd sized table because it is basically a counter. That washed the life, money. Okay. Anyways, this is out of Peaches and Cream in a color called Billowing Blues. I bought a case, and then I bought another case of this from the Bernat clearance site from their e-tent. And for whatever reason, I can't think of the name of it right now. But you know what I'm talking about, right? So I am making this the pattern that I'm using is Beatrice Ryan Designs did Crochet Alongs on her blog. And so this is actually a crochet along blanket pattern, and I'm going to modify the size to try and make it a rectangle and make it a rectangle that will fit my table well. So, you know, I started with these granny squares, and this, I think I'm through clue 3. It might be clue... Yeah, I think it's clue 3. This might be clue 4 that I finished. So, I've been working on that, and that's going to take me a while and be long term. In the process, have been, I have a lot of this, but I have been reclaiming frogging a shrug that I started that didn't fit anybody right that I tried to give it to. So, I am frogging that and using the yarn for this. The second thing that I submitted is a wrap with slit. This will ultimately end up for sale probably because I've already sold one in this design that I entered in the fair last year. It's a free pattern from the Red Heart website called Wrap with Slit, and it you can't really see it. Anyways, the color is real teal, and it's this wrap, and it has a slit, so that when you put the wrap on, it self-tucks through the hole and holds itself together. So I have 2.5, almost 3 skeins of yarn left to put into this. So this whole bag is full of that. So that will take me some time. I am also working on the layering tunic, which I mentioned, which was on my list of 30 while 30. And it is going to be this. The layering tunic vest. It was a free pattern on Simply Soft, or made out of Simply Soft on the Karen website by Susan Schildmeyer. Anyways, it came off, this came off of one of those, like, it was a free pattern, but I think it came off of one of the, like the archive things, but it ends up being this like cabled vest. So I have been working on it. I'm running into the problem of I bought this yarn, and it's Tahiki Yarn's new tweed in this lovely color 35. It's kind of like a pink with a tweed that's got blacks and turquoisey teal and orange and like yellow through it, and it feels really nice. It's got a 70% merino, 15% silk, 11% cotton, and 4% viscose. So they're 50-gram balls, and I had 10 balls, which when I figured out the yardage based on what it called for in the Simply Soft and all the stuff, I thought I had enough. Because I bought all the yarn that they had. This yarn was actually like on clearance at my mom's LYS when we were visiting last time. But I think I'm going to run short. I'm hoping I'm not, but I think I am. So this is what I have gotten done of the back. And I had most of this done already. And so now what I'm working on is the front. And I'm going to see how much yarn I use before I get to the yoke. And then I may have to make some modifications or pull some rows out from somewhere. But I'm going to do one half of the front and see how much that takes, and that'll give me an idea of what I need to do. So this is the first half of the front that I'm working on. And so this is like a decrease row that I have marked. But I've been using the stitch marker that I made a while ago, and it had what was going to be at one point an earring that I just had laying in my beading box, and an eggplant. And I don't know why, but the eggplant makes me really, really happy. So I always like when I have the stitch marker on a project, because, I don't know, there's something just fun about having an eggplant hanging off your project. So yeah, so that's where I'm at on this one. I'm using a G-hook, and so it's taking a bit of time, but the pattern, as soon as I started working again on this front, like it re-clicked in my head how it went, and I think it's going along a little more easy than it had when I was working on it before. Though frequently when I was working on it before, I was trying to do it like when my daughter was at a lesson or something, and I found that when I do that, I make all sorts of mistakes. I don't know if it's that I'm like thinking about other things simultaneously, but I get lots of work done while she's in these classes, and then I feel like I come home and realize there's a mistake and have to rip out the whole lesson's worth of progress. But maybe that's where it's more the process crafting than the product. I don't know. But I dropped a ball. Ball down. Oh, 2 balls. Oh, no. Ball and yarn bar. Okay, so we'll put that back in this bag. So right now it's living in this bag until my mom gets her act together and we can get started on our quilt along, maybe? I don't know. But yes, we're going to make a quilt together. Separately at the same time. But yes, so right now it's living in that bag till then, until my other bag opens up. Actually, I'm probably just going to make myself another bag, because this bag is a nice size for this. It could actually be a little bigger and make me happy, but I'm going to make myself some more bags, just because why not? Let's see. Layering tunic. So I've been working on the Vortex Afghan on the Lion Brand site for my nephew on Yarn Inspiration. That's what they call it now. But it was for his, try to reach it. It was for his graduation, which his party was this last weekend. So, oops, I already missed that. But I wasn't going to mail it to him anyways, because I want to enter it in the fair first, because it's been a lot of work, and I would like to potentially benefit from that. So this is what it looks like right now. Yep, it has a ton of ends. I picked this pattern thinking there weren't going to be a lot of ends, because it just looked like spirals to me. and each of the blocks had 2 colors that spiraled. So I thought, wow, 2 ends, that they were going to have some like super fancy way to somehow square it up based on stitches, which they do, except you end up with a lot of ends because you make the corners on it. And anyways, if I had looked at the pattern more carefully when I picked it, I might have realized that. And I might not have picked it, except I kind of had my heart set on it once I saw it. So, here are the blocks, and I have not woven any ends yet. I need to. But I was kind of working on getting the blocks done, and I was going to go from there and see what I was doing. So there's this one. There's 2 different styles of blocks in several different colors. There's 3 colors of yarn. And these are all using Lion Brand Heartland. I don't remember the colors off the top of my head, but there's like a gray, a blue, and a black. And so there's this version. There's 1 square, 2 squares, 3 squares, and then we have the reverse of those, 4 squares, 5 squares, and 6 squares. And I know the colors are really bad. On Instagram, I have much better photos that I took like outside and stuff on my porch, so you can see the colors better and the design, because it's working out really cool. And then these are the other style of squares. So these have like a spiral in the corner, and then they kind of go into this loopy shape. So this is 7 squares, 8 squares, dropped it, 9 squares, and I'm working on number 10 right now, and I have not a crazy amount, oh my goodness, almost falling off my chair. I have not a crazy amount of yarn left. I think I'm down to maybe 2 balls that haven't been cracked into, and then partials on the other 2. Maybe 3. So I'm going to see what all gets done. I'm going to get all the squares done, I think. I don't know how much I'm going to border. I'm basically just going to use up all the yarn I have. And I want to get that done in time for the fair. And then after that, it will get sent off to my nephew. So that will be exciting. But I've been enjoying it when I started. And then I was trying to get it done. So I tried monogamous crafting, which did not work for me. It made me, as I was putting it, I was procrastinating, which is where I do all the other crafts to avoid doing the craft, or I do all the other things to avoid doing the thing I was supposed to be doing. It was kind of funny because I wrote all these show notes, and I was thinking about this. I've been talking to my friends and stuff about this for a while. This is what I've been doing. And then I was watching Bunny Fish Crafts podcast the other day, and she was talking about procrastinating because she had like projects she needed to get done, and she was trying to avoid doing them by doing other things. And then she was talking about procrastinating, which I also was going to talk about on my show this time, about how, yeah, my house, the reason that anything has gotten clean and organized is because I didn't want to work on this Afghan. So I procrastinated, because if you're not going to be productive on the thing that you kind of should be, why not be productive on something else? So yeah, so it has led to cleaning and other things, and I've been told by my hubby that apparently I don't like this project, because I get that I've been saying lots of not nice things about it. I ultimately do like the pattern, and when I see it laid out, it's going to be awesome. And I think my nephew's really going to like it and get good use out of it, and it's going to be a good piece for him for a long time. It's just taking me a long time to get there. And then I have all those stupid ends, which I know once I start weaving them in, it's actually not going to be a big deal at all. It's like the build-up to it is worse than the actual action, you know? So let's see, what else am I deciding whether I should procrastinate or prioritize. I started after I decided that clearly monogamous crafting was not for me, I needed to clear the pipes, and I decided to do a mystery crochet along through Melissa's Crochet Patterns, I believe is the name. And it was for the next Precious Animals MCAL. I kept up with days 1 through 4 of the 7 clues just fine. I even took pictures of the first couple of days and posted them, like you know, would be nice if you were like doing it and you should be involved. So I did that. Then I got too lazy to post pictures a couple of days, and then I got too busy in the last few days where there was just no time to do that. So, I have all the pieces done through clue 5. And I think clue 7 is mostly just putting them together. And I have all the clues, but ultimately what it ends up making is a unicorn. So I have unicorn bits, and then a bunch of like these curly cues that go on for the mane and stuff. So I have been in process on that, and the fourth color is going to be this blue. So it's yellow, pink, blue, and purple. Then I dropped more yarn down. Hold on, here I go. Okay. So that is all hanging out. It needs to get finished eventually, but there's really, I mean, now that the MCAL is over, it's not like there's any pressure on when I finish it. I just need to because I have the pieces done. I've also been working on one of the things on my 30 for 30 was making a lovey for my youngest son. And my hubby and I decided I was going to make him an elephant. My daughter has a bear, which is like a bear head attached to a blanket. My son has a giraffe, and we decided an elephant would be good for the youngest one. And we couldn't find any of the stores that we liked, so I'm going to make one. So I have the head, I have the 2 arms, and these are made out of peaches and cream because I thought that would be good as far as a lovey is concerned. And I have ears all done. And one of these is a trunk. Oh, this is the trunk and a trunk. So I just need to sew these all together, and I have the fabric. And now that my sewing machine is working, there's really no excuse why I haven't done this, other than the fact I've been doing other things. There's my excuse. See, I knew I could find one. But I do need to get this together because he is starting to play with toys more and be more interested in like cuddling with things. And yeah, it'd be nice if he was cuddling with something that wasn't me all night while he was sleeping. So I need to get this done so that he can attach himself to it at the right time, which I think is now. So there's that. So that will probably be, you know, somewhat prioritized. Then let's see on this page. Oh, a lot of these I've actually already finished. Okay, so these are not quite done though. So I am making, for the librarians at our library, I've had in the works mentally for a while, to make them all superhero capes, which is just something that I make, and my kids have them and like. So these are in a slightly larger size so that they fit a grown-up better. You know, they go over the head, and then it's like, they like go on your back. See? See? There we go. Oh, no, this way. So yes, and then each of these is going to have the librarian's initial on them, and we were going to write them a card, like, thanks for being so super, we love the library. Turns out that this summer's theme for the summer reading programs is superheroes, or like every hero has a story or something. Anyway, it's superhero themed. So, it turns out this is perfect. So, I finished this cape. Of course, I have like ends that need to be woven in, but I'm Kendra and I don't weave in my ends. Till I absolutely have to. So there's this one, and this one. These are all made out of Super Saver and varying variegates. Anyways, there's this one. The first one was melon berry. The second one is plum pudding. This is day glow. This is bright mix. And this is black white. And I picked all of these because all of them had a little bit of pink in them. So there's like something in common about them. And I tried to like match them to the personality of the personalities of the various librarians. And then I've made each of their initials out of white. And I just need to go ahead and sew said initials on the back of each cape. And then I can take them to the library for our librarians because my family loves our library. It is one of our absolute favorite places to go, and we try to go like once a week, though right now, since there is no like story time until summer reading program starts in July, we've been saving the gas and not driving because it's like a half an hour away because it's several towns over the library that we like to go to, because the closer ones just have not been as awesome. So yes, so these superhero capes for the librarians, I just need to sew the letters on, and then that will be done. And I don't know, I won't have those the next time. So there'll probably be a picture next time, and I'll post pictures on Instagram and stuff when I finish them. As far as, let's see, other things that I finished. This is the camo hat that I made for the Straw Family Farms Crochet A Loss. See. It's like wonky. It's gonna make my hair all messy for that cowl. And I mean, first of all, the camo, not really my color. I wasn't sure whether the hat at all was gonna be my thing as far as the brim, and I don't know. So I made it in a color that would be sellable. And yeah, the pattern ran a little small. We talked about that in the group for this crochet along, that it's a free pattern on Ravelry. Oh goodness, I can't think of the name right now. There will be a project page on my Ravelry account, so under Cutesy Poo Creations for this. So if you're interested, you can see it there. But it only had 60 stitches, and it really did, like, when you put the top little bit in your head before, like, once the increases were done, it didn't seem like it was going to fit. Well, I accidentally was adding a stitch after that, and I figured that out when I got to 66, and it turns out that adding that extra stitch for the 6 rows I did kind of made it ease just about perfect. Like, I really do like the way it fits. Like I say, I don't know if these are my colors. And I don't know that I care for the brim in any fashion, but it's not bad. And I like the way the hat itself fits my head, so I might actually make it again, but in different colors, but we'll see. So that's that. So this is done. Of course, also weaving in ends, which I need to do so I can take a picture so that I can finish entering this. I do have something I did weave the ends in. This is completely done and ready for the fair. This is a dress I made for my daughter. It is called Girl Dressing Crochet. It is a vintage pattern from Work Basket magazine from, oh gosh, I forget when this one's from. I have another one that's from Work Basket that I know is from 1976. So I think this is about a similar time period. But it doesn't really match the pattern because I'm an idiot. And I read the pattern. I didn't, read the pattern, you know what I mean? I just kind of started. So I knew that it was going to need a seam, which was not a big deal. So I started putting it together. I was basing everything originally off this skein of yarn because my daughter picked it and said that she liked it, and that's actually what she really wanted the whole thing made out of, but I only had one skein. I knew it wasn't going to be enough to do the whole dress. Like once I did the first few rows, this bottom bit, and then I weighed it to figure out whether I thought I could do the whole dress. And I knew I wasn't going to have enough yarn, so I knew I needed to scrape it with something. But I didn't realize how much not enough yarn I was going to have, because when I got done with the front panel and I put the yoke on, I knew that it had said back after it said yoke. I assumed it was the front and the back of the yoke. I neglected to notice that it said back. Redo is front, meaning the entirety of the garment, not just redo the back of the yoke. The way things were capitalized and bolded confused me. So then I looked and I weighed things some more and realized that I was not going to have enough yarn to do a second bit of this. So I tore out what I had put into the yoke. And even if I didn't do like this top stripe, I still was not going to have enough yarn to do the same. I was like, okay, well, you get more of this yarn. So I looked on the Red Heart site, I looked on Joann's, I looked on Ravelry. I could not find this yarn. Now, I didn't have the ball band anymore, but I couldn't find the cut. Like, I was looking at pictures and could not find an image of the same yarn. So I realized that that was not going to be an easy thing to come by. So I needed to just make it work with what I had. Well, it turns out that the front bit that I had, which would have been just half of the dress as the pattern wrote, fit my daughter around because she's not very wide. She's very slender. So rather than have this open and be two seams on the side, I just seamed it together down the back and modified the yoke myself to come up with what it turned out to be. And the first time I did the little strappy bits, I did the yoke part and then the strap that goes back, and I thought it was going to be big enough, but she couldn't get her head through the hole. So then I had to add some more strappy bit on the back part of the yoke and hook it all together, and now it fits very nicely, and it's super cute, but I won't let her wear it till after the fair. Hope it still fits. So funny thing too about this, so I was going to take pictures of it to post, and I wanted to make sure what size it was, but I didn't want my kids in the pictures. So I was trying it on. I tried it on her. She liked it, but then the boys wanted to try it on too, because it's not fun if only one of them gets to try it on, right? So I tried it on all three of my kids, and it fit all of them. So it fits from like a size 3T, maybe a little smaller, all the way up to like a size 8 with the same dress. Now it fits in varying degrees. Like with one of them, it's kind of floor length, and then with my daughter, it comes down, you know, to like her knees, maybe just a little below. But it was just really funny to me that it fits such a wide range of kids, which, whatever, that's kind of cool. So that is already done. So one of my 10 for the fair is done. And I have a baby blanket, or baby Afghan that's already done. And I already have a stole that's done. So that's 3 things that are completely done of the 10. And the Afghan's going to be 1. And the tablecloth is going to be another. 4, 5. And I'm about to show you, I have another one that's almost done. So, if today I had just barreled through this project, I would have another I'm proud of you to show you right now, but instead I was a good mom and worked on lesson planning for the coming school year, because for those of you that don't know, I homeschool. So, I have to do that. But I'm working on this for, there's a category called 2-piece baby set. And this is from a work basket from 1976. And it belonged, the magazine belonged to my great aunt. My dad's cousin, his wife, was cleaning out their attic and found a bunch of these. And she didn't know what to do with any of them because none of her family is into the fiber arts, and she knew I crocheted, and she's like, do you want this stuff? She brought me boxes and boxes. I think even in the middle of one of my podcasts, she brought me a box of magazines. So I've gone through them and torn out the patterns that I'm going to want and got rid of the rest of the magazines, because I just don't have the space to store all of that, and I know that there are some things I'm clearly never going to want. So I just picked some patterns to keep. So it has this little picot trim along the neckline, or like along the yoke, and then a picot trim all the way around. And this is out of Bernat Baby Sport in the color Pajama Party, I think. And it was a really weird feeling. I commented on it today. We were in the truck coming home from camping, and I was working on this, that I feel like I'm constantly playing yarn chicken with things that I make, because I'm either trying to do it with one skein or whatever. I miscalculate, apparently, a lot, because I don't want to have, like, massive amounts of extras, especially if it's something that I either don't know if I'm going to use again or whatever. And a lot of the yarns I use have no dye lot, so in that case, it doesn't really matter if I'm running out, other than the fact that I live half an hour from the store, so, and then I have to hope they have it in, and, you know. So I play yarn chicken a lot, but when I bought all of that, the Billowing Blues Peaches and Cream, I bought it through a crate sale on that website. And I also bought a crate of this, which is a whole case of these, 12 of these gigantic skeins of baby sport yarn, which I had been trying to use it for another project originally, so I had balled up by hand some balls. And this, you know, was not all that much bigger than this when it started, but it became this. So all I have left to do, I need to seam the arm bits. But they called it the pattern referred to this garment as a sack, S-A-C-Q-U-E, which I had never seen before, which basically I think means sweater. But it is going to look like this when it is done. And I am also, because I need 2 pieces, I'm going to make the little bonnet. So I will probably start on that tomorrow, and I don't think that will take me long at all. But I'm enjoying it, and I know several people that are having babies in the coming months, which I would like to have gifts for. And so this will already be done. And that's so not me to have things done ahead of time. So working on this, and that will be another entry into the fair. And I think that is all of the crocheting that I have one more that I'm working on. I started this tonight. So I said it was my son's birthday, and when I asked him if he wanted me to make him anything, he decided that since he likes to play Enterprise, he always likes to be Worf. And so he needed a sash like Worf wears, which I looked it up, and now I can't think of what it's called. It's a Baldric. I will put it on the screen here. And don't leave me mean comments because I can't think of the name. It's late. So, anyways, here it is. And I'm just using basket weave stitch. And it's Worf-esque. And it made him happy. And, I mean, for a 3-year-old that asks for a Worf costume for his birthday, I figure this is going to be just fine. So, basically, I'm just going to make, like, an infinity scarf out of it. He might even be able to wear it this winter as a scarf, but for playing, he can wear it as like a little sash. So I think I figured out that this is about 1/5 of how long I need it to be. And that'll work out good. And he liked it. He saw it tonight. It wasn't his only present, but it is the homemade gift he's getting from Mom. It was funny, somebody else had called today saying that they were mailing his present. So he was telling everybody else that called that, like, somebody was making him a gift. And I pointed out that there are gifts on their way, but I assume they came from stores, and that he shouldn't assume that whenever somebody says they're making him, or that they have gotten him a birthday gift, he should not assume it is homemade. Because since I tend to make the presents that we give, he just assumes that they're all homemade. So I didn't want to get his hopes up, if that was going to be the case. Let's see, what else have I made? It was a Will I Procrastinate, but I totally prioritized it, in part because my hubby reminded me to, that he needed more boxers made, and now that I have a functioning sewing machine, which I feel like a broken record, I keep mentioning that, but it's like a really big deal right now, and I'm sewing lots of things because suddenly there's a sewing machine in our house that works again, and my first love was fabric. Yarn is the newest obsession, but fabric is still a big deal. But yes, I made him some new boxers, and I also made shorts for the boys, and then figured out that it was a good thing I finished them before we went camping. I took a whole stack of new shorts with us, but I need to make more, like, yesterday, because everyone has grown, and don't have enough clothes that fit, or that fit the way I want. So, I'm going to be making more shorts for the boys. And that, is that everything? Yay, that's everything. I hope this is going to be too terribly long. Okay, it's going to be a little terribly long, but hopefully that's okay with you all. I will, like I've said before, try and podcast more regularly. I think I might just have to give in to the fact that I'll just do it with bad lighting like this when I can, if I can, because part of the reason that it's been so long is that I keep putting it off because I don't want the lighting to be terrible. But yeah, I'm just going to have to go with that. Yeah, so if you've stayed with me this long, then thank you. And I love you more than cows and cheese and applesauce. And have a good one. And continue to make such nice work.